A childhood promise turned into a deadly curse. When Vivian and Emeka made a blood oath under a mango tree at age 11, they thought it was innocent love. 10 years later, it happened. Make sure you watch till the end. The night was quiet in the small village of Enugu. The moon hung low, casting a silver light across the fields. Beneath a wide mango tree at the edge of the village sat two young children, Vivian and Emeka. The cool breeze made the branches sway gently above them. They had sneaked out of their houses after everyone had gone to bed, their hearts pounding with excitement. Vivian wore a simple cotton dress, her hair tied into small braids that bounced as she moved. Emeka sat beside her, his shorts dusty from running through the footpath. They were only 11 years old, but tonight, they felt like grown-ups about to do something serious. "Are you sure about this?" Vivian whispered, looking around nervously. "If my mother finds out, she will beat me." Emeka smiled. "Don't worry, she won't know. I just want us to promise each other. Forever." He had watched a movie earlier that week, a love story where two people took a blood oath to seal their love. In the film, the lovers had sworn to be together in every lifetime, and Emeka believed that was the purest form of love. Now, under the mango tree, he wanted to do the same with Vivian. "Okay," Vivian said finally, her voice trembling. "But let's do it fast." Emeka nodded and pulled a small razor blade from his pocket. It glimmered faintly in the moonlight. He held her hand gently, looking into her eyes. "Vivian," he said softly, "I promise never to leave you in this life or the next. You are mine, and I am yours forever." He pricked his finger and squeezed until a few drops of blood gathered. Then he let them fall into Vivian's palm. The tiny droplets shone dark red against her light skin. Vivian hesitated. The sight of blood made her shiver, but she didn't want Emeka to think she was afraid. She took the blade carefully, drew a small cut on her own finger, and looked up at him. "Emeka, my love, I promise never to leave you in this life or the next. You are mine, and I am yours forever." She pressed her bleeding finger to his lips, and he tasted the metallic tang of her blood. He did the same for her, and she flinched slightly as their blood mixed. The moment felt sacred, though neither of them understood the danger of what they had just done. The air around them seemed to grow still. Somewhere in the distance, an owl hooted. Vivian smiled shyly, wiping her finger on her dress. "Now what?" Emeka looked proud. "Now, it means we are tied together forever. Even when we grow up, even if we travel far, our love will always bring us back." Vivian giggled. "You talk too much like the people in movies." He laughed too, and for a moment, they were just children again. Two friends who didn't know that the simple act of copying a scene from television had just written their fate. When they finally stood to leave, the moonlight fell through the branches and lit their faces. Their shadows merged on the dusty ground, stretching into one long figure. As they walked home, Vivian hummed a soft tune, thinking it was just another secret between them. Emeka, on the other hand, touched the small wound on his finger and whispered, "Forever." Neither of them knew that the spirits had heard their promise, and that forever was a much longer time than either of them could imagine. 10 long years had passed since the night under the mango tree. The children who once swore eternal love had grown into adults with separate lives. The wind no longer carried the laughter of those innocent days. Time had changed everything, especially Vivian. She was now 21, a young woman known across the village for her beauty and grace. Her skin glowed like morning sun, her eyes sparkled with life, and her soft smile could melt even the coldest heart. Many young men had tried to win her attention, but her parents had already chosen someone for her. Chief Dai, a wealthy merchant from Lagos who traded in gold and fabrics. For Vivian's parents, this was a dream come true. Their daughter would live in a big house in the city, wear fine clothes, and never lack anything again. Every evening, her mother would talk proudly about the coming marriage, and neighbors came to congratulate them. But deep down, Vivian's heart was uneasy. She often sat by her window, remembering a boy who once made her laugh, a boy who swore to be with her forever, Emeka. Emeka had changed too. He was no longer the playful boy who ran barefoot through the fields. He had become a strong young man, quiet and hard-working, but there was always sadness in his eyes. While everyone else moved on with life, his heart stayed stuck in the past, under that same mango tree. The blood oath had become a shadow that followed him everywhere. On the evening before Mass, the sun had just dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in shades of orange and purple. Vivian stepped out of her family compound, dressed neatly for church. She adjusted her scarf and smiled faintly, trying to ignore the nervous flutter in her chest. She was about to leave when a hand suddenly grabbed her from behind. Startled, she turned quickly and gasped. It was Emeka. His clothes were dusty, his eyes red, and tears streamed down his face. "Vivian, please, my love," he cried, his voice breaking. "Don't do this to me. Remember our love. Remember our promise." Vivian froze. The memories rushed back, the mango tree, the blood, the whispered vows. But she quickly shook them away. Her heart raced as she looked toward the compound gate, terrified that someone might see them. "Emeka, please stop this madness," she whispered harshly. "Don't let my mother come out and see you here. Love is not by force." Since when did it become by force to love someone? Emeka stepped closer, his hands trembling. "Vivian, tell me the truth. It's me. Why are you treating me like a stranger?" She took a deep breath, forcing herself to stay strong. "We were children, Emeka," she snapped. "We didn't know what we were doing. That was a game, nothing more. Go find someone else. I've moved on." Her words cut like a knife. Emeka stared at her as if he didn't recognize her anymore. The gentle girl who once shared his dreams was now gone, replaced by a woman hardened by the world. He stood there for a long moment, silent, tears falling freely. Then he turned and walked away slowly, his shoulders heavy with sorrow. Vivian watched him until he disappeared at the end of the street. As the night breeze brushed her face, guilt pricked her heart. Her lips trembled as she whispered to herself, "He must forget me. He must move on." She turned and hurried back inside, but her chest felt tight. She wanted to believe she had done the right thing, that it was better to hurt him now than to hold onto a childish dream. Yet when she lay on her bed that night, she couldn't sleep. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw Emeka's face and heard his voice calling her name. She pressed her palms against her chest and sighed. She was going to marry Chief Dai, the man who could give her the world. But a small voice deep inside her whispered a warning she could not ignore. Some promises cannot be forgotten, no matter how hard you try. Vivian's wedding was the grandest the town had seen in years. The roads leading to the hall were filled with cars and motorbikes, decorated with ribbons and flowers. Drummers played loudly at the entrance, women danced in colorful wrappers, and children ran around throwing petals. Inside the hall, golden curtains hung from the walls, and the air smelled of fresh roses and perfume. When the bride entered, all eyes turned to her. Vivian looked stunning in her white gown, her skin glowing under the bright lights. Her smile was wide, but her heart was nervous. She stole a glance at her new husband, Chief Dai, a man in his late 30s, dressed elegantly in agbada and coral beads. He was wealthy, powerful, and generous. Every woman in the room admired Vivian for catching such a man. As they exchanged vows, Chief Dai looked at her lovingly. "From today, you are my queen," he said. "And I will make sure the world knows it." For the first time since childhood, Vivian felt safe. She believed she had finally found happiness, a new beginning far away from her past and from Emeka. Days turned into weeks filled with luxury. Chief Dai showered her with gifts, diamond earrings, designer bags, and weekend trips to Lagos Island. Their home was full of laughter. Vivian told herself that life had finally smiled at her. But exactly 6 weeks after the wedding, everything began to change. It was a bright Saturday morning. The sun was high, and the compound echoed with the sound of bouncing basketballs. Chief Dai was dressed in his favorite sports jersey, ready to meet his friends at the club. Vivian followed him to the car, holding his water bottle. He smiled at her and said teasingly, "Vivian, my darling, I had a strange dream last night." She raised an eyebrow, curious. "What kind of dream?" He paused, looking thoughtful. "You remember that small boy you used to like before I came into the picture? I saw him in my dream. He was just standing there, staring at us. Have you spoken to him recently?" Vivian's hands went cold. For a moment, she forgot to breathe. Then she forced a laugh and waved her hand dismissively. "Ah, my love, no. Why would I go back to that old thing?" "I haven't seen him in years," she said, trying to sound calm. Chief Dai nodded. "I just wanted to be sure. Dreams can be funny sometimes." He kissed her forehead. "Don't worry, it's nothing." She smiled weakly as he drove away. But deep inside, fear crept into her heart. How could he have dreamed about Emeka, someone he had never met? She tried to shake the thought off and went about her chores, humming to distract herself. Hours passed. The afternoon sun began to fade. Vivian was arranging flowers in the living room when her phone rang. It was one of Chief Dai's friends. She answered cheerfully, "Good afternoon." But the voice on the other end was trembling. "Madam, please stay calm. Chief Dai, he's gone. He just collapsed on the court. He didn't get up." The vase in Vivian's hand slipped and shattered on the floor. "What? That's not possible," she screamed. "He was fine this morning." He was just fine. Her knees gave way, and she fell to the floor crying. By evening, the compound was full of mourners. People whispered strange things, that it was too sudden, that it was too soon. But no one dared to speak their suspicions aloud. Vivian's perfect life had ended in one sentence. Her husband was dead, exactly 6 weeks after their wedding. As she sat alone that night, her wedding ring felt cold on her finger. She touched the small scar on her hand, the one from years ago under the mango tree, and whispered through her tears, "Emeka!" Somewhere far away, the wind howled through the night, as if answering her. A full year passed after Chief Dai's death. People in the village had stopped whispering about it, and life slowly returned to normal, or so it seemed. Vivian still wore black for a long time, mourning quietly. Eventually, her parents encouraged her to remarry. "You're young," her mother said gently. "You can't spend the rest of your life alone. Let the past rest." That was how Segan came into her life. He was a successful young managing director of a tech company in Lagos, handsome, educated, and kind. He met Vivian at a charity dinner and was immediately drawn to her calm beauty. To him, she looked like a woman who had suffered too much and deserved happiness. Within months, he asked for her hand in marriage. Vivian hesitated at first, but Segan's warmth made her heart soften. He didn't care about her past. "All I want is a future with you," he said one evening, holding her hands. His sincerity melted her fears, and she agreed. Their wedding was small but elegant, close friends, family, and soft music. Vivian wore a cream-colored gown instead of white. She said she wanted something different this time. Everyone admired how peaceful she looked beside her new husband. For a while, everything truly was peaceful. Segan treated her like a queen. He made her laugh again, filled their home with music, and brought her breakfast in bed on weekends. They took evening walks around their estate, holding hands, and neighbors often said they were a perfect couple. But happiness in Vivian's life never lasted long. It started during the 6th week of their marriage. Segan began to look pale and distracted. At first, Vivian thought it was work stress. He would sit at the dining table, staring blankly into space. When she asked what was wrong, he shook his head and smiled weakly. "It's nothing, my love. Just a long day." A few nights later, she woke up and found him standing before the mirror, breathing hard. His reflection seemed to tremble. She called his name, and he turned sharply, his face wet with sweat. "He's there again," he whispered, pointing to the mirror. "Who?" Vivian asked, her voice shaking. "That man, tall, dark-skinned, with sad eyes. He keeps staring at me. I saw him in the corridor, too. And in my dreams. He doesn't speak, but he's always watching." Vivian's heart stopped. Every detail matched Emeka. She forced a smile and touched Segan's arm. "It's nothing, my dear. You've been overworking yourself. Maybe you need a break." But inside, panic grew. She couldn't tell him the truth. How could she explain that her first